Okay, geometries, or the G tab within our asset view, are the way to store 3D assets within your graphic hub, are a way to store 3D assets or geometries within your graphic hub. And basically there are two ways to generate geometries. One, we can import them, or two, we can create them and merge them natively within Vizrt. So number one, we're going to import a few. So we're going to go up here into the import, and we're going to search again for a folder that we want to select where our assets are coming from. Then we have our drop down here. Again, we have a fonts and images, geometries. We want to select geometries. And then over here on the far right, you can see that we have two 3D.obj objects, and we can import .fbx, .obj, .3ds, many different formats. You can try it out. Each one is going to bring in the model a little bit differently depending how it was saved out from the other program. So here we just select and slide into the folder where we want it to go, and you see it gives you a little import button here. If we want to slide it into another folder, you just select that folder and then you can drag it over, and then there your objects are. If we go back into our workspace or our scene, and we can navigate through our asset view here to find these assets and then drag it up into our scene tree. So here's our 3D object that we imported. It was a baseball. That was the OBJ, and here is the other .obj object that we have right here. And you can see that when we bring it into our scene and then start manipulating it further, it is 3D. Now we just have to worry about the text stream at this point. Now, the other way to create 3D objects is to create them within Vizrt. And to do that, what we need to do is actually merge a scene or merge some elements together. So here I have a scene open. It's just a very simple lower third here, but it has multiple containers and images or multiple things that make up this lower third. If I hide the containers here, you can see that we're hiding things within it. So all of these containers make up this whole lower third. Many containers, many elements, including plugins, geometries. Now what I want to do is actually save these to a new folder so that I can reuse it in another scene. So if I come up to my container and I highlight my topmost container, so there are two settings within our scene tree. And these two settings up here, and if you roll your mouse over it, it will tell you what they are. Number one is merge with actions and events, and then there is a split as well. So right now we have all of our containers separate. We're going to go up and click the merge with actions and events, and what that does is combine this container all into one container, and now we have no triangle there that we can select all the other subcontainers within it. Now if I wanted to save this, I just select a folder where I want it to go here, and I can drag it by this little icon and slide it right down into that folder, and we can give it a name right there. And let's close this scene. Now if we are in another scene here and we want to use that geometry that we just merged, we can bring this geometry up into that new scene. Here it is still merged. Now we can use the split button to reveal all of the subcontainers. So that's the way to split and merge geometries within Vizrt so that you can drag and use things within different scenes. The last thing we need to mention here within our geometries is that if you do have a geometry within your scene here, you click on the icon that it gives you within the container. In the editor or properties window, you have a couple of options. Number one, if you click on the icon within that properties or editor window, it will actually take you to where that geometry or 3D object is located within your database. So if you're somewhere way down here looking for this 3D object and you have no idea where it's at, you can select it within your scene tree and then come over to the properties or editor window, click on it, and it finds it within there. Now depending what type of object you imported, you're going to have different options up here in the editing window as well. And sometimes when you bring a 3D object in, the normals don't always face correctly. You can use this flip, so the geometries don't just need to be simple 3D objects. They can be a little bit more complex as well. For instance, here's another one that has many containers, and if we drag this up and we split that one again, use the split option, we can see how it's a little bit more complex than the other two that we did, that we have a lot of containers in here. And now that it's split with all of the containers revealed, if we did need to merge this back up, you just hit the merge button right there, and then you can drag it into any other scene that you need.